Employees are the main assets of the company, and now with remote work opportunities, location is not an issue anymore. That means that you should also know your options for finding talent. Today, we're going to talk about top countries with highest unemployment rates to hire overseas. I'm Khatia, HR manager here at Nomad Capitalist, where we help high net worth individuals with their offshore strategies, gain second citizenships, passports, residencies, and invest in real estate opportunities. On this channel, we talk a lot about similar topics, and if you're interested to hear a bit more about them, click subscribe. As we have previously mentioned, hiring international team members from all around the world can bring you various benefits. It costs you a lot less to keep your team members happy. You're not tied to one specific place, you're not tied to one specific country and its conditions. And talented people in many countries where the unemployment rates are high are very eager to find stable and good work opportunities. It also costs you a lot less to provide your team members healthcare, wellness, and other type of benefits to keep them happy. So today I'm going to talk about 6 countries, their unemployment rates, average salaries, in general, our thoughts about hiring there. When you're making a decision where to hire next, you are taking into account few variables: time zone, English language, ease of doing business in the country, stable internet connection, how flexible people are, and many others. First country that I would like to talk about is South Africa. This is the country that we have not explored before as much, and recently we realized that we could find really good talent there. Unemployment rate there is a little over 30%. And average salary is approximately $1,340. There are a couple of benefits hiring in South Africa. Time zone, GMT plus 2 time zone is very beneficial for international teams. A team member in South Africa can easily collaborate in coworkers in Europe, Middle East, even Southeast Asia. So it is very beneficial for someone who has team members in various different locations. One of the biggest advantage of South African talent is their English language knowledge. English is widely used for many of them, it's native language, and it is widely used in a business communication on a daily basis. It makes it very easy for international teams to have South African employees in their team. South African workforce is already working with companies from Ireland, UK, New Zealand, so they are already utilizing the talent in South Africa. And there's a very small difference between communication styles of Western countries and South Africa. There are not going to be many misunderstandings or misinterpretation when you are working with them on a daily basis. And from my experience, small misunderstandings happen even between people who are not native but speak great English. South African staff do not have big cultural differences from the Western world. It makes it very easy to collaborate with other team members from UK, Ireland, Canada, US, and so on. A talent in South Africa might be particularly interesting for tech companies. South Africa has growing talent in tech industry, software engineers, web developers, IT professionals, and they make much lower salaries on average compared to same professionals in the UK, Ireland, and the US. Due to high unemployment rate and lack of opportunities, South African workforce is eager to find very good, stable opportunities, especially with the employers abroad. Labor force is very educated and disciplined. They are motivated to work. The country produces more than 200,000 graduates every year, and they do not have job opportunities. Another advantage South Africa has is that salary costs, including payroll costs, are much lower compared to European countries. When you're hiring talent offshore, you have to make sure that first of all, you trust them, but you also have means to hold them accountable if needed. South Africa has a strong history of protecting intellectual property rights and enforcing contracts, and that is very important for you when you're hiring someone in another country. In 2022, around 850,000 jobs were lost in South Africa. That affected 2023, and it's still an ongoing case in 2024. Another country that I'd like to talk about is Montenegro. Montenegro, alongside other Balkan countries, Albania, North Macedonia, Kosovo, has a high unemployment rate as well. Unemployment rate in Montenegro is little over 15%. An average salary is around 1,265 US dollars. If you're planning to expand in Balkans, Montenegro can be a desirable destination for you, but you have to consider the small size of the population. Montenegro's population is around 625,000, which means the talent pool for you is very small. Official language there is Montenegrin. Many people speak Serbian, Croatian, Albanian, but English is not very widely spoken. If you're going to target entry-level team members or young people in general, you will have a better results. But if you're going to target the whole population, English knowledge will be disappointing for you. One of the aspects of hiring internationally is to consider if the country encourages remote workers, digital nomads, and so on. And Montenegro does. To attract digital nomads, Montenegro has a digital nomad visa. It is scheduled to last until 2025. That means that currently Montenegro's beautiful coastlines and cities are populated by talent from not only from Montenegro, but from Western European countries. So when we're talking about Montenegro, we have to mention favorable tax rates. If you make over 700 euros, but less than 1,000, you're going to be taxed only by 9%. If more than that, it's 15%. That means that remote workers in Montenegro are in a very favorable situation and they're happy to find job opportunities abroad. There are a few ways to hire talent in Montenegro, depends on the nature of the work that you are looking to be fulfilled. You can create your local entity, which can be quite a lengthy process in Montenegro. You can hire independent contractors, but you have to make sure that the nature of the work is freelance, or you can go through employer on record service. If you're looking for tech talent in Montenegro, it is not as low cost as some countries in Asia. You are looking at paying around 2,000 euros for tech talent, IT professionals, software engineers, web developers. That number is still low if we compare countries in Western Europe. Although if you hire customer service representatives or other similar roles, salary there is quite low. It's around 700 euros. In our case, we have team members from Montenegro. You have to find the right talent and they're going to be great addition to your team, but you should not expect volume hiring. Another country in Europe that I'd like to talk about is Spain, with unemployment rate around 12%. Average salary is around 2,500 euros. That number is low compared to Western European countries. That number is high compared to countries in Balkan or South Caucasus. First thing that comes to my mind when talking about Spain is how nice their weather is. And for many people, that is very important. In Spain, you will meet local Spanish talent and digital nomads from UK, Ireland, the US, and many more. That means that you can find very diverse talent, many of them native English speakers, in the country where unemployment rate is high and salary costs are low and cost of living is low as well. If your company operations needs Spanish speakers, Spain can be a good destination. They speak both English, Spanish, they are in good time zone, and again, even though they are Western European country, they do have lower salaries. One thing to consider is how government favors employees over employers in many disputes. Even though salaries are relatively low, social security contributions can be quite high in Spain. What you should consider is that in Spain, fixed term contracts are not popular. If you're hiring someone, you're making an offer, they will most likely expect for you to give them infinite contract. There's a benefit as well. If you would like to give a notice to an employee, the minimum is only 15 days, which means that new talent usually can join your team quickly, and you can also finish your employment with your team member quickly as well. What that means is that if you'd like to terminate the contract later on, you will have to provide reasons, you have to provide multiple warnings, and provide a sufficient notice period. So those are small details you need to take into consideration. While you can ask about salary expectations and their current salary at during the interviews, they're not obligated to tell you what they actually make, and they will always expect to make 10 to 20% more in their next position. That is considered as a standard in Spain. In End of 2022, Spanish government introduced a startup law, which made sure that startups would get favorable tax rates on their operations. Those new measures were aiming to grow tech industry in Spain. That means if you were hiring for tech positions, then you can look at Spain. I would like to talk about Turkey as well, which is a very interesting country for me. Unemployment rate is around 8.8%, and average salary is a little over than $400. You have to consider that Turkey has a huge population. We're talking about 85 million people here. Even the country is big, you have to target specific cities in Turkey to find people who speak English. That can be Istanbul, Ankara. In east side of Turkey, you will have harder time to find people who speak a good English. You should look at people who have international education. That means that they can adjust to culture, they can speak good English. So generally you have to be strategic in Turkey. It's not easy to find right talent for you if you are an international company, but definitely there is a big potential if you look in a right way. Istanbul is a great destination if you have international team and if they need to travel a lot. Istanbul airport has many destinations all over the world, and flights are generally a bit cheaper from Istanbul airport. So if team member needs to travel, Istanbul is a great place for them. Income taxes in Turkey range from 15 to 35%. I would say this is quite average. You can find places with lower taxes and higher taxes. Turkey's emerging market for tech talent, again, web developers, IT talent, and software developers are represented in a high number in this country. So if you have a need for those positions, you can look in Turkey. Turkish lira currency fluctuates a lot, so you have to make sure that you fix the terms in US dollars. You do not want constant changes and demands for pay raises. We've talked before about Georgia. Unemployment rate there still is a bit over 15%. Average salary is around $687. If your teams are spread across Europe and Asia, Georgia is a very good and central location. Young people in Georgia are educated in European countries through many scholarships that they have opportunities to get. But again, same case with South Africa. There are a lot of talented people, but there are not a lot of job opportunities that pay well. If you will pay more than average salary in Georgia, which is quite low, you're going to get quality talent there. Young people in Georgia mostly work for companies abroad for marketing positions, mostly digital marketing, tech, IT and customer service roles. If you're looking for talent with different languages, Georgian, English, also Russian, especially there has been an influx of Russian nationals in Georgia, you can look at talent in Georgia. While we talk about Georgia, we should mention Armenia as well, with the unemployment rate of 12%. Average salary is similar in Armenia. It's around $700. You should look for talent in Armenia if you're looking for IT and tech industry, because they are very strong at that. For me personally, it was hard to look and find English-speaking talent, but I'm sure that there are opportunities there. A population, same as Georgia, is quite low, so you do not have a big talent pool. Due to the time zone, which is quite central, I would still consider it as one of the destinations for hiring. Overall, there are a lot of benefits to hiring offshore, and you can find a lot of flexibility. You can find people who are motivated to find remote jobs abroad. On the other hand, it can be quite complicated, and you have to make sure that you consult with professionals before you make any decision. And this is what we help our clients with. We help them to find the best places, and we in general help them with their offshore strategies. If you want to learn a bit more about these topics, you can subscribe to this channel. And if you'd like to become a client, go to nomadcapitalist.com/apply.